Hi, this is Alan Stout from Visit Luzerne County, and I'm here with Neil Prisco from the Wilkes-Barre Cavalcade of Jazz and the FM Kirby Center. On this edition of Next Stop, we're going to be talking all about the Cavalcade of Jazz, which is coming up in early June, its history, all the great acts that are playing this year, and some of the great work that Neil has done with his job at the FM Kirby Center and at WVIA TV. Hi everyone, this is Alan Stout, Executive Director of Visit Luzerne County, and welcome to Next Stop, the Visit Luzerne County podcast. Here, each month, we'll be chatting with people from throughout northeastern Pennsylvania that help make our region a fun place to visit. We record the podcast right here at our office, inside the historic train station in Wilkes-Barre, which served as the next stop for countless trains for more than 100 years. Our next stop with our podcast will always be with someone we think you'll find interesting. Enjoy. Hi everyone, this is Alan Stout, Executive Director of Visit Luzerne County, and this is Next Stop, the Visit Luzerne County podcast, episode 6. And our special guest today on the podcast is our friend Neil Prisco from the FM Kirby Center for the Performing Arts, and just as importantly today, one of the people on the steering committee of the Wilkes-Barre Cavalcade of Jazz, which is coming up very shortly.
It's unbelievable. We're going to be here before you know it.
We will. And so we're going to talk all about that real shortly, Neil. But before we get to the Jazz Festival, let's get to know you a little bit. You've been the director at the marketing director at the FM Kirby Center now for about 2 years.
Yes,
right?
sir. Just a little over.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Where are you from originally?
Originally, I grew up in upstate New York, a small little river town called Poughkeepsie.
So everybody's heard of that.
Exactly. So you take 2 hours, it's called East on 84, you're going to run into Poughkeepsie, Mid-Hudson Bridge, everything right there. So grew up there. It's an amazing town to grow up in, especially in terms of like national landmarks and whatnot are all around, like towns like Hyde Park, have the Roosevelt Mansion, the Mills Mansion, all that. I never realized as a kid, like, oh, that's not a normal thing. You and your friends don't go, like, in a playground, like, in their yard, I guess. You know, it's now a national landmark. But it's what we did, and it was fun. Then I came out here for college many years ago now at this point. Went to Marywood University, stuck in the area, and actually worked in local TV forever. I worked over at WVIA, had the best time with the best people. Shout out to all my friends and family at WVIA.
Great team up there, yeah.
They're the best. Met my wife there. And then, I really liked her. So I stuck around the area, and and it's worked out pretty well. So I've been here ever since. And then a couple of years ago, the opportunity to switch over to the Kirby kind of came up, and it was a really exciting opportunity. It was one that I hadn't really thought or explored into. And my hobby personally has always been concerts. I love live events. I love going to shows. I naturally go to a couple hundred shows a year. Tonight, I'm going to a concert. Tomorrow night, I'm going to a concert. Sunday night, I'll be at another concert.
Not Kirby shows.
Not Kirby
just
shows.
Going as a fan.
Exactly.
Not work.
Exactly.
Right.
Because that's what I love.
We have Bill Murray cleaning his apartment outside the window right now.
Hey, I'm very excited
Pool
about it.
will be good for you, Carl. Pool.
And that's how you know the Visitor Center is a beautiful place to be. Constant maintenance and lawn care, always being attended to. And, downtown Wilkes-Barre, really, when I think of places that are just constantly on the rise and getting better every day, this is it right here. It's a perfect reminder.
We do beautify the property sometimes, so sometimes you will hear a leaf blower outside on occasion.
It's normal. I can think of a million podcasts where I've heard people outside. You hear the lawn work, you hear a fire truck going by or whatnot. We're in a real place. Now you know it's not a stage set. We are in the Visitors Bureau in downtown.
We're right here in the historic train station. So you go to Marywood, and you go to VIA, and then you go to the Kirby, and that's how you and I met a few years ago because our work has us doing some projects together, including the Cavalcade of Jazz. And we'll come back to the Kirby and VIA a little bit later, but this event is coming up very shortly. The dates are, for those curious, June 6th through the 8th. It's scattered about all of downtown Wilkes-Barre. The anchor show, the headline show, is at the Kirby. We've also got a big show at the River Street Jazz Cafe. And we're going to talk about all that in a minute, but I want to give a shout out also to Neil, because Neil is basically handling all the marketing, public relations for the Jazz Festival, and we've got a fabulous website which could tell you where to get your tickets, the history of the event, information on the acts that are performed. And Neil's been very, very engaged in a very big part of the festival. And so first of all, as someone that's on the team with you, I want to thank you for all of that you've brought to helping make this, our second annual event, and hopefully something that'll continue for years to come, long after you and I have moved on.
But no, I mean, and thank you so much. I mean, cannot obviously talk enough about what you've given to the area and what you've done for not just the music scene in the region, but also just for supporting the arts in general. And I'm, a very proud but very small cog in this machine of the cavalcade. And I'm happy to spread the good word and let everyone know about these amazing events that we have. It's been an honor. I've been a lifelong fan of jazz. Growing up, I played drums. I had all my drum teachers were jazz players.
Yeah.
So got introduced to it at a young age. And then continued just being a fan, as you get older. And
WVIA is jazz.
Exactly.
George Graham.
A good friend of both of ours and just a mentor to me, and I'm sure for you as well. But George, you think of George Graham, he's been such a steward and a shepherd of jazz in our region forever. His show has been going on over 50 years now, which is amazing.
I know.
And then I think of people like Erica Funke, also WVIA, and her father, along with Marco Marcinko's father, were on the committee that put together the original Cavalcade of Jazz back in the 50s. And that's actually recognized as the first jazz festival in the United States, which is unbelievable.
Incredible.
And it's here in Wilkes-Barre. And, like I said before, I'm a small cog in this machine, but we get to put together this amazing event for downtown residents and really people all over the region to come and enjoy this great American art form of jazz. And it's not just one style. Everyone thinks they hear jazz and it's going to be one sound. No, it's so diverse. There's so much going on. And in all these great downtown venues, places that normally might not have a band or, a live act, we get to put them in there and bring people to this region and have them experience how bright and how flavorful downtown Wilkes-Barre can be while enjoying all this amazing free music on top of these unreal ticketed events we have this year. So I'm honored to be part of the committee. I appreciate the kind words, but, I think our committee's stacked. I've been on a couple committees. This one is everyone pulls their weight. Everyone is on it. And I really appreciate everything and everybody on that committee.
Yeah, I want to mention the other folks that are a part of the Cavalcade of Jazz Committee before we get talking about this year's event and a little bit of history. We have Gina Malsky, who here in northeastern Pennsylvania has her hand in so many wonderful events. She knows how to put on an event and run a show. Mm-hmm. And she was involved, believe it or not, back in 2011 with John Mayday from Riverfront Parks Committee, who was also on our committee. They did a Cavalcade of Jazz Revisited event back in February of 2011 on the 60th anniversary of the first jazz festival. So there are two people on our committee that have helped keep the flame burning with the legacy of the first jazz festival.
100%.
So we want to thank Gina and John. AJ Jump, who I know you work with at the Kirby Center. Sure. AJ has booked the talent for this year's shows, and he was also involved last year with helping book the talent, and he's brought us some terrific artists who we're going to talk about. Mike Slusser, who is the special events coordinator for the city of Wilkes-Barre, and of course, anytime you could have Mike on the team, and you're putting together an event in Wilkes-Barre, he brings expertise and guidance to the table. And of course, the city of Wilkes-Barre serves as a sponsor. Bob Borwick, who is on our board here at the Visitors Bureau, as well as the Diamond City Partnership and involved with the Circle for the Arts, is on our committee. Maria Edmonds, who was so helpful last year with putting the brunch together on the morning, the final chapter, the final part of the festival. And Maria is involved with us again. Shelby Monk from the Diamond City Partnership, who are so involved with working to keep the downtown vibrant with events. They've all been extremely helpful. This year, Mike McGinley we brought in as our event chairperson. Amazing. And he's absolutely hit it out of the park with our fundraising. And he's been out there promoting the event at events and social mixers and in the newspaper through his column. And also, we want to thank Marco Marcinko, who helped us get the event off the ground last year, helped us bring in an incredible headliner, and will be performing again this year. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned everybody on the team. Our role here at the Visitors Bureau, we're a sponsor, and sometimes I'll try to offer a little bit of suggestions on the promotion, but really we're all just spokes in the wheel, and everybody's stepped up to make this event something special.
I mean, when you mention all those names right there, and even just the people themselves and the organizations they represent, this really is a community effort. You're talking about the county, getting together with the city, getting together with the downtown, getting together with venues like the Kirby and River Street Jazz Cafe and the other restaurants all throughout downtown. This really is a community effort to bring this together, and it creates something so wonderful and magical. I mean, there was something about last year's event when all of us were able to come together and put it on that it was so special in the moment. Because, first time at bat, this hadn't been done since 2011. We're wondering, how's it going to go? Are we going to be all right? Are we going to get people? Jazz is a niche art form. But, being one of America's greatest art forms, we're here to push it and promote it, and people came out. Not only that, they packed the downtown. And I remember, and you probably remember this as well, going from venue to venue, hearing unbelievable music, and every place was packed. And it's because of the coalition, people put together, but also this great music. And we gave people a reason to be downtown, to enjoy it. And maybe sometimes that's what people need, the excuse to go experience. I've wanted to check out that restaurant for a while. Well, now that this is going on, we're going to do it. And this is such a cool thing to be a part of. And it works on so many levels. It promotes great art and at the same time promotes a great city. And, it's just a joy to be a part of and to see it thriving the way it's been. And now in its, second annual year, and we kind of enter this iteration of the festival, we're excited about this year and what's to come.
It really has been. I remember being at St. Eunice's with you and your wife last year, and AJ's band was playing, Southside 5.
Yes.
And it was so awesome. Here we are. And that's for those outside the area, St. Eunice's is very much a college bar.
Yes.
It's very popular with King's College students. It's across from King's. And that bar that night was packed with young people enjoying jazz.
That's right.
And some of us, got a little gray in the temples and had come down as well.
A little. Good for you.
But it really that was one of the stops on, you could sort of, once if you go onto the website, you can see all the details. It's one of the stops on the festival. They're scattered out around Wilkes-Barre, and I remember hanging out with you there that night and having a wonderful time. The history of this event, just to talk about that a little bit before we get into some more details about this year.
Of course.
It goes back to 1951. Wilkes-Barre is recognized as the birthplace of America's first jazz festival. Esteemed jazz critic Leonard Feather and the Library of Commerce have both basically recognized this as an historical fact. And I know that sometimes, even like with the Babe Ruth event that we work on, there might be another town that says, no, we were the first. But we do have some rather significant historical documentation.
We have credibility.
We do.
And people always dispute it. That's fine. That's local legend.
It's kind of part of the fun.
Exactly. But no, it's documented. It's out there.
And to commemorate that, back in 1994, the city of Wilkes-Barre put a beautiful plaque on Public Square.
That's right.
Which reads the following. On February 23rd, 1951, history was made in Wilkes-Barre. 8 jazz bands got together for the Cavalcade of Dixieland Jazz, which became the country's first jazz festival. On this occasion, April 29, 1994, the city of Wilkes-Barre acknowledges and pays tribute to those early jazz musicians and promoters who initiated the tradition which continues today, not only here in its birthplace, throughout the country. So not only do we sort of stake claim to the fact that we continue to celebrate this event with the plaque and with what they did in 2011, and now with something that will become an annual event. But when you hear jazz festival anywhere across the country, the idea of doing something like that sprung from Wilkes-Barre.
That's right. And it's pretty amazing. That's one fun fact too, that due to the efforts of this committee and people on it, the plaque that was up in Public Square went down for a while, and then due to the efforts of this committee, came back. The plaque came back this year, which is wonderful to see. And I know that's a special shout out. Our friend Mike Slusser helping make that happen, as well as John Mayday, who is our historian on this committee, was so happy about that, and just his joy alone was so infectious to see that come together.
It was. We should tell the people, it wasn't just like just took it down. It wasn't like, the Burgermeister in Santa Claus, where we're getting rid of the pictures. Like they basically were building a beautiful new stage on Public Square. And so it was put in storage for a while, safe storage, while the new stage was being built. And then the stage was finished right around the time that we start talking about doing the festival, and we basically all said, well, let's get the plaque back. Let's get the plaque back. Yeah. And we'd remind Mike from time to time, we really want to get the plaque back. And the plaque is back.
The plaque is back. And
right where it belongs.
It's not, like you said before, it's also not the easiest thing. The plaque is not light. It is a massive piece of just pure metal. So really happy to have it back up there. Check it out next time you're in downtown square. You get to see history right there.
It's right behind the new stage on Public Square, the performing area.
Okay.
So that's the history. And last year, so that brings us to the festival. So last year, we got together and we tried to put this together for the first time. And we kicked around everything. We kicked around names for calling it. We brought people in, and Marco was involved, and AJ with the talent, and then reaching out to the venues and who would like to participate. We had Arturo come in as the headliner, who sold out.
That's right.
And not long after that, he was recognized by Kennedy Centered Honors.
That's right.
So we sort of hit it out of the park there with timing with Arturo last year, and it was so successful that we're back again. So let's talk about this year. Who do we have performing? I know we have India Owens, who is basically a regular on television. I know a lot of people have seen her on late night television.
That's right. Most people might not even realize it. If you watch Stephen Colbert, Late Night with Stephen Colbert, you might see her every single night. You most likely are. She's the bassist in the band. And actually a lot of players in her band, India Owens and the Cookout, are in that band. And if you look at any jazz festival poster anywhere in the country right now, you're going to see the name of this act in that lineup. She is an unbelievable talent, and she's going to be our headliner Saturday night here at the FM Kirby Center. It is a ticketed event. You can get tickets right now on Ticketmaster.com or KirbyCenter.org, but they're going to be right here in downtown Wilkes-Barre doing an amazing show, and we're so honored and excited to have her and her band be our headliner on Saturday night. Friday night, and if you don't mind, I'll just go right through the whole list.
Go through the list.
Because then we also have Friday night, we have Cindy Bradley, who's going to be playing the River Street Jazz Cafe. Here's a funny thing. We had this massive jazz festival last year, and the Jazz Cafe wasn't in it. This year, they are, and it's amazing. So we're really excited to have the River Street Jazz Cafe, and they're playing a big part in it, too. They're bringing in Cindy Bradley, who is an unbelievable trumpeter. And she's going to be headlining Friday night. Again, a ticketed event, $25 in advance, $30 at the door. It is going to be amazing. And after that, I'm going to run right through the whole lineup as we go from beginning to end. So, Friday, we have our opening ceremony right at the Kirby. And we're going to have special presentations. Erica Funky from WVIA will be there giving the history. And this year's performer, as you mentioned before, Marco Marcinko and his Latin Jazz Quintet. If you have not heard them, they are amazing.
And Marco was the founder of the Scranton Jazz Festival.
That's right.
So he's in northeastern Pennsylvania. He's synonymous with jazz. So having him involved is wonderful.
You need it, and because he really is part of not only this region's legacy of jazz, but even nationally, he's in the conversation. He was the one who helped put together this beautiful 18-piece band last year with Arturo Sandoval, and it was unbelievable. And we got to watch that. We were all there, getting to enjoy that at the Kirby. This year, we'll see the players. Actually, some of the players who are in that 18-piece band are in the quintet, and they'll be performing for free as part of our opening ceremony, 5 o'clock, Friday, June 6th, right in the Kirby Center. And it's got Paul Rostock on bass, Bill Washer on guitar, Tom Hamilton's doing the saxophone. You're going to hear his name a lot this weekend. We've also got Robert Velez on congas and Marco, of course, doing percussion. And, I mean, these players, they played not only with Arturo, they played with Tito Puente, they played with Maynard Ferguson, they played with Stevie Wonder, and they're here for free for everyone in downtown Wilkes-Barre on June 6th. But that's the opening ceremony. After that, Friday continues, so pack a lunch, or get ready to have dinner, really, in downtown, because we go into our Friday night jazz walk, which is encouraging everyone, go check out the different venues and spaces in downtown. And all free events. You go if you want to eat and have a drink, obviously you'll pay, but these are all free events to walk in and out of. First one on the list, we get to see NEPA guitar legend Tom Kozik is going to be playing the jazz walk, and he's over at Cafe Toscana, an amazing smooth jazz guitar that you can listen to. He's been playing, and he's kind of a cornerstone of our area's jazz scene for decades, and you're going to get to see him for free over at Cafe Toscana, having one of the best meals you've ever had and listening to one of the best musicians you're ever going to hear. That's going to be amazing. That's just helping kick off the jazz walk portion, right? After that, we get to welcome Scott Edmonds. He played last year doing piano in the opening of the Sunday Jazz Brunch, but this year he's coming back for the Jazz Walk with his trio, and they're going to be playing at the Diamond City Vault Bar and Grill. So Scott's a fun story because Scott is originally from our area, and now he plays in Philly's jazz scene all the time. But he's played with legends like Terrell Safford, Wyclef Gordon, Carla Cook, and he's played everywhere from Dizzy's Club Coca-Cola and also the Appel Room at Lincoln Center. So pretty amazing. And that's going to be right at the Vault. So you can pretty much walk right next door and go check that out. After that, the Westmoreland Club Jazz Quartet with Mike Stevens and jazz legend Tony Marino, who played with Maynard Ferguson. They're going to be returning this year to Rodano's. I don't know if anyone who's hearing this or listening, last year Mike Stevens came and brought the group in. Rodano's was packed. There was not a table to be had, and this group is outstanding. And also to hear Tony Marino live, I used to joke with George over at WVIA that how lucky are we that we just get to hear Tony kind of all the time. Right. And he would come in, he is just unbelievable on bass. He is so good. And again, people are going to get to come and just enjoy a good dinner, but you're going to have him playing while you're there in the venue. Unbelievable. To me, that's just, you do not want to miss that. It's so exciting. After that, we have the Lush Life Ensemble is going to be playing Franklin's right next door. They start at 8 o'clock. And Lush Life Ensemble is Tim Husty playing with Jimmy Waltich and a few others. And this band, if you want to hear, there's a style of jazz, it's the crooning. You think of Frank Sinatra, you think of, Etta Fitzgerald, things like that. That's where this style of jazz will be kind of heard and served. And in Franklin's, enjoy a cocktail, have a great time enjoying this great style. And that's, again, Friday night, because jazz, everyone thinks, oh, maybe it's like a swing band, or maybe it's just, Dizzy Gillespie. There's so many different types of jazz. And just like the first jazz festival in 1958, they called it the Cavalcade of Dixieland Jazz. It wasn't actually just Dixieland jazz. It was all different types. It had New Orleans jazz in it. It had bebop. It had a few others. We're doing the same and carrying that great legacy on. And some people might hear this and be like, I don't love jazz. You might find a genre, you might find a sound here that you like way more than you ever thought you would.
You might love jazz.
Exactly. You might love it. After that, we talked about being at Franklin's. We've mentioned Sununa's before. And so this year playing at Sununa's is Justin Mazur's trio. If anyone from this region, again, Justin Mazur, amazing, unreal guitarist from our region.
He's a talented man.
I mean, he's someone who's played with Daniel Rodriguez, Graham Lesh, Sister Sparrow. He's all over the country. I mean, so Justin Mazur has also been featured, Rolling Stone's written about him, Relics, Guitar Player Magazine. He's from your hometown, and he's playing here, and he'll be at Sununa's for free.
Justin put out an album a few years ago, and it was almost all instrumental music.
Right.
And I host a weekly radio show featuring local bands on a rock station. Mm-hmm. I still had Justin on and played almost the whole album, even though it was an instrumental album, because he's so good. And I mean, he's that special that I was willing to break the format of the radio station for him, basically.
He is an unbelievable talent. I mean, this area is so rich with artistic talent, and there's so many people that I don't know if people realize how lucky we are. that we get this. And not only that, we have world-class talent from here going out into the world and showing what they can do, but then we can also bring people in from the world to here. Like as we mentioned before, Cindy Bradley being the Friday night headliner at the River Street Jazz Cafe, she's a world-class talent. She's, Juilliard. She was a child prodigy on top of it. And she's had 8 #1 Billboard singles in the smooth jazz category. 8 #1s. And she's going to be playing over at the Jazz Cafe. You can get your tickets, again, $25 ahead of time, $30 at the door. For a talent like this, though, that is a steal. Usually if you go to a major city or market, you're paying over $100. And so to be able to see this here in your hometown, it's amazing. Again, it's what a great opportunity for all of us to kind of get to see this.
And that's a good point. I mean, the some of these events on the Jazz Walk are free. Mm-hmm. There are, 2 that are ticketed events, but they are very reasonably priced. Jazz musicians are well known as being arguably the best musicians.
Of course.
I mean, it's a difficult type of music to play. It's not necessarily, even though I know we both love it, 3-chord rock and roll.
Oh yeah.
And so these musicians that are coming in are some of the greatest players in the country, if not the world. And so to see them at these very, very reasonable prices is, I think, something that all of us are very proud of too with the cavalcade.
Well, that's the thing, and you can speak this about any event, right? But it really harkens true with the cavalcade. You can not go, and that'll be the story. You didn't go. What if you did? And what if you went to the show and you got to see someone who is literally one of the best in the world at what they do? You have that story for the rest of your life because you went, you were in the room when it happened, you heard the live show, you got to experience that music, and maybe it's someone you never heard before. But now they're one of your favorite artists. Now you're telling everyone you know, oh my gosh, I went to the River Street Jazz Cafe. Cindy Bradley, I've never heard anything like it. That's the experiences you will get throughout the cavalcade. And I can say that easily, unabashedly, almost, braggadociously here on the podcast because I know that's what's going to happen. These performers are unbelievable. And so that's just Friday night. That's day 1 of 3 of the cavalcade. When we get into Saturday, we start early. We started this last year, Jazz and Java, over at Abide Coffee House. We love Abide. Abide loves the community, support everyone, and it's such a wonderful place to be. They're going to have Doug Smith's Dixieland All-Stars. Doug Smith's Dixieland All-Stars has been around since the late 80s, and I love that, it was originally called the Cavalcade of Dixieland Jazz, and we're going to have a Dixieland band actually playing right there when you have your morning coffee. Last year, we had the Jazz and Java, and again, packed out Abide in the morning. We're hoping for that, again, success we can have again, because that event is so fun. And again, unbelievable performers. And you might have heard Doug Smith in the region before. So many different events, so many different places. But he also, as another one, these people have traveled the world playing. They've traveled the country, and they've brought their styles and their sounds everywhere because they are some of the best in the world to do it. After that, we're introducing a new show. We mentioned before, the Circle Center for the Arts. This is so exciting. We didn't get to have really afternoon programming last year on Saturday. This year we do. And so we were really excited to have the Jesse Lynch Trio with Joe Michaels and Matt Smallcomb. Jesse Lynch is based out of New York City, but he's the one who's a graduate of the Oberlin Conservatory. He's toured across 80 American cities, and he's also collaborated with Grammy winner Charlie Neville, Melanie DiBiaso, the American Tenors, and so many more. He's currently working on his 3rd album, and he curates New York City's underground jazz series of The Vortex.
Oh, wow.
And so that's going to be Saturday afternoon at 2:30. I love the Circle Center for the Arts. And I think I hate saying it this way, I'm sure the people there would not love to hear this. It's one of the best secrets we have in the region. It's a little off the beaten path, right? It's 2 blocks down from the main town, and it's not on the major road. But this is anyone who was ever heard of it or kind of wanted to check it out, or, the Wyoming Art League, you want to know more and see more. You're going to see some of the best art in the region while listening to some of the best music you can for free. This is your excuse to go. Check out the building and be there.
Architecturally, it's a neat building.
It's unreal.
You don't see too many buildings that are
It was originally designed as a medical school, a medical library, I believe, actually. And so then they turned it into this beautiful art space, and it's so great. And it's this gem we have right in downtown. And I honestly can't wait for that show, just for more people to get to experience the room as well. What a cool space. And I really think it's just one of these, I hate saying hidden gems, but it really is right now. We have so many great galleries in downtown, and this one I can't wait to get the opportunity to enjoy a show in. It's going to be really cool. Then we have the headliner on Saturday, and Dea Owens in the Cookout. We mentioned her before. It's $55 for general admission. You can go $40 if you just want to have standing room only. This is going to be a special show. Another Juilliard graduate. And then after that, again, she's a member of the Late Show with Stephen Colbert's nightly band. You see her every night. She's won an Emmy. She's won a Grammy. She's a Peabody Award winner. She's played with Wynton Marsalis, Diana Ross, John Baptiste, and so many others. And she also has her nonprofit, I love this, her nonprofit Community Cookout. It delivers music and meals to underserved neighborhoods. Again, the kind of people who give back and help out communities. She's doing that every day, and she's young. She is on the rise. She's an up-and-comer. Last year, we were lucky and graced to have Arturo Sandoval, a unbelievable jazz legend in the field. And he came and blew the roof off the Kirby. And that was, anyone who was there knows, that show was unbelievable. This year is going to be no different. And Ndea Owens being someone on the rise and coming up is so exciting. You know, you could say, again, it's another time of you could say you were there when, which is going to be pretty cool. And then this is, after that, we're actually ending late that night. It's Saturday. We're going to have some fun. And so we go back to the River Street Jazz Cafe. And this is really exciting. I'm a big fan of New Orleans jazz, and there's a big tradition, you know, and it's crazy to see other music festivals have kind of adopted this. Back in the day in Harlem and New Orleans, they would have the main concert, and then they have these like jazz jams afterwards, or they go to a smaller club, and a couple of the premier musicians would start just playing with each other on stage and just having this wild night of assorted songs and collaborations you never see, ever. You might never see again. These certain musicians just come together for this moment in time. It's like that special moment in any concert you see, where, wait, it's a guest appearance. Who's that? Who are they coming on stage to see? And you were there. You get to be there for it. We're having the first ever late night jazz jam for the Cavalcade at the River Street Jazz Cafe starting at 9. And as you mentioned before, Southside 5 is going to be playing it with special guests coming in and out. Southside 5 is an amazing group of local musicians. It's Roy Williams on guitar, his brother Mike Williams. There's Nick Driscoll, who's taught half the musicians in this region. You have Ian O'Hara and H.A. Jump on drums. They do a style of jazz. It's really a Django Reinhardt style of jazz, acoustic guitar led. It is so cool, and it is so precise. And you know, if you're not familiar with it, please go open Spotify or go on YouTube right now. Check it out. It is so good. And these guys are some of the best in the world doing it. And they're here in NEPA.
Right here.
And legitimately, other cities would kill to have a band this good on the regular rotation for them because it's so unique and so special. And love this band. And that night's going to be really something special. And here's a cool part, too. It's $10 at the door. Or it's free with your ticket to see Ndea Owens. So if you're going to Ndea Owens, go to this show right afterwards. It's going to be such a special night. And again, one-time only performances, special collaborations. This is something that's going to be really a moment in time, and I love that. To me, that's part of what you do it for. That's the magic of a live show and a concert that kind of comes together.
I want to thank you, Neil, because there's so many parts in motion with the Cavalcade and venues and artists, and you know, it's difficult to synopsize it all, and you just did. So I appreciate that alone, because for the folks listening, listen to what Neil just said. I mean, that is all happening here within, you know, two nights.
2.5. That's 2 nights, 2 days, and we still have the jazz brunch to go
on Sunday.
On Sunday, the jazz brunch is Now, like, I don't mean to do full sales pitch on this, but I am legitimately very excited about this one, because we say surprise guests. We say, this is going to be very special. I'm going to kind of give half a spoiler and half let everyone know right now, do not miss this brunch. There is an artist who's going to be performing at this that we can't say the name of, but it's a pretty big name. And so what I can tell you is that it's going to be at Bank and Vine It's going to be Sunday, June 8th at 11 a.m. I say make your reservations. It is free to obviously be there, but you're going to have to, get your food and drinks. But I will say that New York City trumpeter Joe Boga, who's originally from our area, is going to be there. Joe Boga is another one. He's a Juilliard graduate, which I love seeing that over and over again. This is the level of talent that we're dealing with. But he's also a member of Vince Giordano and the Nighthawks. If you know them, they are world-renowned for bringing 1930s style jazz to the main stage. Martin Scorsese pretty much has them on speed dial. When you think of the movie The Aviator, when you think of Boardwalk Empire, Killers of Flower Moon, that's all them playing that music. And they are the best in the world at that, and the only ones who can really replicate it and make it sound as authentic as it was. They're going to be playing our brunch over to wrap up the festival at Bank and Vine that day. And I am so excited for that. The special guests, you need to see it to believe it. And the fact that you're going to see that and be there for that show for free in downtown Wilkes-Barre on a Sunday morning is really special. This show, I mean, I can speak from personal experience. So Vince Giordano, being pretty much the guy in the world for this sound of jazz, he literally has instruments they don't make anymore because he's the guy who can do that. And years ago at WVIA, we did a documentary on the Scranton Sirens because this region has a long history with jazz. And the Scranton Sirens were a pretty prolific band back in the day, and they had two players in the band named Tommy and Jimmy Dorsey. And they went on to do some pretty big things in jazz and really music at the time, popular music at the time. And so we did a full documentary on it. And Greg Makowski, the director, Tom Cure, the executive producer, they wanted to do a reenactment of it. Because a lot of the recordings, they're not around. This is before that was popular to be able to record anything and everything. So to do the reenactment, they needed to find someone who could actually help replicate that music. Through a friend of a friend, they got a hold of Vince Giordano in between his Scorsese gigs and got him to come out to over here. And we basically got a high school jazz band to come in. We cut their hair, we put them in tuxedos, and we made the TV studio look like an old 1930s jazz club / burlesque house, and we put them in there and they played these songs. And Vince Giordano is the one who kind of curated all of it, and to be able to hear him even showing these players, here's how you do it and what you can put together, it was unbelievable. And just to kind of see the maestro at work, he's come a couple times to the region since, playing performances at Misericordia University and a few other venues. He is unbelievable. And Joe Boga, it just shows the talent from this region. Being his main trumpeter, playing in this group, and doing a few other things, this is pretty special. And getting to hear that Sunday morning, I cannot tell you enough, you need to be there. I know I'll be there. I'll be there with my wife, enjoying a wonderful, maybe Eggs Benedict, who knows.
Yeah, we should also mention that the restaurant is one of the best in the valley, so the food will be delicious.
Exactly. We're very fortunate with that. There's so many great venues, there's so many great artists, and we get to showcase them all here during this amazing 3 days in downtown Wilkes-Barre. I know it sounds like a lot, and everything I just kind of ran through is a lot.
It's a cavalcade.
Exactly. It's a cavalcade of jazz, and it's meant to be that way. It's not small, but it's a lot of fun. We have a great community that helps work it together. And I can tell you, for anyone who has questions or maybe you missed something that I said right there, you can always check out the website, wilkesbarrecavalcadeofjazz.org. And we're very lucky that we have so many great community partners who want to, reinvest in the community, who want to celebrate this. And this opportunity, doesn't come around all the time. We have a great group of people who are putting it together. I'm lucky to be the one who helps spread the good word.
Well, we appreciate that, Neil, and we appreciate all that you're doing to help, put this event together and promote it and, come on here and speak on behalf of it. Want to get back to you.
Oh no, that's the boring part.
Because I've got to know you the last few years that we've worked together. The Visitors Bureau. We absolutely love the Kirby Center. It's such an integral part of Luzerne County tourism.
We feel the same way about the Visitors.
Well, thank you. I mean, we love our community, and we're very involved in our community, and we support a lot of events that we understand might not necessarily be tourism based, because we want to be a part of where we live. Even our own Rock in the River shows, we understand it's not a big tourist thing. It's mostly people from our area that go to those shows, and we love doing those shows. But the Kirby, not only does it provide world-class entertainment for our own community, but you literally do bring a lot of people in from out of town for those shows too. You just had a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame too. You just had Joan Jett and Pat Benatar very recently. So you're always bringing in top line entertainment and shows. Tell us a little bit about what you like about working in that beautiful 1,800-seat theater on Public Square. What's your favorite part of being a part of that team and that beautiful theater?
This has now become probably to encapsulate all of that. This is going to be an 8-part series now. I will say, no, I mean, I'm very fortunate. I'm very lucky because I get to work in a business that I really enjoy and I love, and we get to be a part of something that's really special, right? So I look at it like the Kirby really is a diamond in downtown Wilkes-Barre. It's a reason for everyone to kind of come together and brings people to the city and then gives them hopefully some of the best experiences of their day, their week, their month, their year. We bring in so many different artists from around the world all the time. At any time of year, and we get to give people the chance to have an amazing experience in their hometown and see world-class entertainment. I'm very fortunate. I go to hundreds of shows a year. I get to see so many bands, and it doesn't get old for me, and I love it so much because there's a feeling when you're in the room with a group of people that is like church. It's a congregation. You're all together. You're singing along. You're dancing in peace and harmony, and everything's wonderful, And there's a communal effect to that really brings people together. And for some people, maybe they don't have that opportunity. They get to go to one show a year. They're busy. Or maybe it's not their thing as much. They go to 1 to 2 shows a year. Or maybe they went because their wife really liked the actor. Who knows? Or their husband. But then they go and it blew their mind. And the rest of the year, the rest of the life, they're talking about that show. We get to help facilitate that experience for people here in downtown Wilkes-Barre. And that's one of my favorite parts of the job is... I tell the marketing team all the time, we're one of the few, positions where when we're done with the project, it literally ends in a party. So when Joan Jett goes on stage, that's when our marketing end kind of stops, and that's the party. There you go. Now we get to celebrate with 1,800 of our closest friends enjoying Joan Jett.
You deserve those 2 hours at that point.
and it's what a joy though. Like we get to have it. Trey Anastasio comes in, and don't go wrong. That was a little bit easier of a lift. We just had to say, "Hey, Trey's coming," and everyone said, "Okay."
Yeah, that was sold out. That one sold out rather quickly, if I recall.
And not bad, but also how cool is it to be part of the team now that Joel's leading, and we Joel Yarmel, the executive director of the Kirby. Brought a couple of us in, and we get to be part of this team now that is bringing in these top-tier acts to the Kirby and helping facilitate that for our region. When you look at it, in the past year alone, we've had Bonnie Raitt come into the Kirby. Now you can only see her in sheds and amphitheaters, things like that. But you got to see her in a theater here in Wilkes-Barre. We brought in Vince Gill just the other week, who's selling out much bigger venues. In between literally his gigs at the Ryman and the Sphere, he came and played Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah. Joined a little band called the Eagles.
Yeah, not bad, right? But he's playing here. Again, you mentioned Joan Jett, Pat Benatar. Primus kicked off their tour last year here with us. We have Lake Street Dive who kicked off their tour with us. We had so many world-class comedians. Joe Coy. We have Kevin James coming in June. We have, just an amazing array of talent that we get to, help shepherd into the region. And it's such a joy to do. We're very lucky that we've also... The people before us took care of the room and made this 1930s theater a desirable place to play. And we've done our best to try to enhance it and improve it and modernize it in ways that we can. And because of that, we're hearing more than ever about more artists and more world-class talent saying, hey, let's go play Wilkes-Barre. We should go in that market. Oh, maybe that's a better place. We all know that the highways all kind of intersect here. That helps, don't get me wrong. But then on top of that, we're showing that, no, there's an audience here who's hungry for good art, for good entertainment, and people are coming out for it. And so us, and along with other great venues like the Arena and the Pavilion and the Cultural Center and the Williamsport CAC, I'll shout everybody, the Penn Speak, we're all working to bring great entertainment to the region and put on great shows. And the artists are taking note of that, and they're coming. And right now, especially more than ever, you're seeing that influx of talent come to this region because they know there's something going on. There's something special there. And it's really cool to be part of that, like percolating bubble as it kind of comes up.
Absolutely. Well, we're glad that you landed there.
Yeah.
I think it's a great fit for you, and that serves our community well in Luzerne County and all of northeastern Pennsylvania well. And so I can't think of anybody that has the enthusiasm that you do and the genuine love for arts and entertainment and the expertise in marketing. And so the Kirby's lucky to have you. And you have a great team over there. We work with Mike Dale at Rockin' the River and your box office team with Tina and Molly and everybody. Known AJ forever. Joelle was our guest on the podcast. She was our first guest when we kicked it off.
That's a phenomenal guest.
And so we would love to, we absolutely love the Kirby. Your first stop professionally, after you mentioned, was WVIA. Also an institution here in northeastern Pennsylvania.
Better believe it.
Goes back to the late 60s, if I recall, when it as a flagship PBS station.
That's right.
And you worked on film there. That also was a wonderful experience for you.
Unbelievable. I mean, quick shout out to Ben Payavis, who, I don't know why he hired me and kept me on, but he did, and I'll take it. But right out of college, had the opportunity to start freelancing there. And, I always kind of lean more into the arts, right? So when I'm getting into loving to work in TV, loving the radio, there was opportunities at WVIA, and I was able to work on documentaries. I was working on talk series, concerts, being able to direct a concert and put things like that. I came up in production, and so doing camera, lighting, audio, directing, eventually editing, and then some producing. And then, becoming full-time at the station, I switched over to, promotions and graphics. I, ended being the creative director there. And I kind of got to run the gamut of all these amazing creative opportunities. I've, worked with PBS nationally. So many people don't realize that so many things that went national through PBS came from here in Northeast PA over at WVIA. And the people, the talent that is just there alone, what a gift that this region has to have Lisa Mazzarella in the morning every day, to hear Erica Funky every day. People don't, I don't know if people from outside the region realize how special of a place that is and what they do on a daily basis. The arts and education they're able to provide for underserved communities and neighborhoods and different schools, kind of like as an ancillary benefit, it's unparalleled. That is, when you think of the little station that can or the little train that could, WVIA all day. That is a unbelievably dedicated group of people who work tirelessly to make something special for our region. They put on events every year that draw thousands of people, and they put on shows that even more watch on a regular basis. The team there is extremely talented, and I was lucky, standing on the shoulders of giants for years and being a part of that team because, I guess I'm laughing because I'm 40 now, so I look back in the past 20 years, I've spent a career pretty much in nonprofit and working towards education and the arts. And I feel like that's pretty good service work. I feel that really works well here with me because, we live in a world where those, aren't always given freely. And so be able to work for organizations that can help give that opportunity to people and be a part of that small story so everyone else can have that enrichment. Oh, that's the best. I think of so many great documentaries that might have never been made if it wasn't for the people at WVIA who said, no, this story needs to be told. I talked before about the Scranton Sirens, but they've done documentaries about the Susquehanna River.
Yeah.
Who's going to sit there and say, oh, you know what? We're going to dedicate a couple months of time and we're going to put into 60 minutes featuring our local river and how important the Susquehanna watershed is to our region. And here's the best part. It is such an important story. It affects the country in such a big way. But those stories aren't told without institutions like WVIA leading the way and taking the time to tell those stories. WVIA News is more robust than it's ever been before. And to be honest, it's more needed now than ever before because people don't realize that there's sections of our region, it's kind of a news desert. No one's telling their story and things are always happening. They go out and they spread that story and we need it. And it's an amazing thing.
Yeah, that was a great hire for them with Judy Stoney to come up and head up their news division. She stopped down here to see us about a year ago. And it was nice to have her in the Visitors Bureau and see her take her expertise of 20 plus years or so on a major news station and take that over to VIA and bring that to them. So we're a big fan of what they do too. They were kind enough to invite me up about 3 months ago, to tour the progress of the renovations.
Right.
And they put about $10 million into their facility, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's great to see them not only solidified here in the region after 50 plus years, 55, but also to be moving forward.
And it says a lot about the region, right? So the region's the reason why we can have a WVIA. The region's support and the region's care. When they say viewers like you, that is so real.
Mm-hmm.
I know from being there. That's a real thing. And this region's what's made it work. This region's what's made WVIA possible. And it's because this region has a thirst and a hunger for education and arts and community. The Valley with a Heart is not a slogan. It's a real thing. And I'm not from here, so I can say that with authority. I know it's not me being like a homer for the home team. I'm not looking at you guys saying, like, no, that's real. This area steps up time and time again for the best for its town and for its region. And having WVIA, a resource like that, and a station that's as successful as it is doing what it is because the region supports it. They see it, they acknowledge it, and they put their money where their mouth is.
2 great stops for you. I mean,
I'm
VIA
lucky.
and the FM Kirby Center, and to be a part of the Cavalcade of Jazz. A couple of more quick questions for you before we let you go. I always like to maybe sometimes wrap up these conversations with we talked a lot about your work. We talked about nothing but your work.
I'm very boring.
What is Neil like? We already mentioned music. Neil, what do you like to do in your free time when you're not at concerts and running and helping at the Kirby Center?
Well, that's.
I know you're a Yankees fan because we've talked about that.
Better believe it. I love the Yankees. I'm a long-suffering Jets fan as well.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, me too. So, if I could take it back, I would, but I'm just too invested at this point. What's called other free time I spend, obviously, with my amazing wife, our wonderful dog, Bowie. Named after the singer, not the knife, and it's because he's a border collie with 2 different color eyes. It's the coolest.
Oh yeah, that's Bowie.
Oh, I love him.
Great name.
He's the best. And then obviously helping out with other area organizations, taking part in different things. I said before, I'm a boring guy. To me, my fun is really just being involved and trying to leave a place better than you found it. So other times, I guess I laugh when I think of free time. It's always booked, right? I'm always trying to do something because I'd rather do it while I can before I can't. Someday, when I'm older and more tired and I don't have the energy, I'll be able to reflect. And now, we just go. We'll make it all happen now and figure it out later.
You mentioned you're a big concert guy. Who are a couple of your favorites? Personal all-time favorites?
Oh my gosh!
Desert Island Band.
Oh man!
Take a couple of records with you.
Oh, I do have a good sized vinyl collection. That's a hobby right there, I suppose. But I really I listen to an artist named Bon Iver a lot. I'm a big fan of him. I'm a big fan of the band Wilco. I'm a big fan of the band The National. If we're gonna go a little bit older for my whole life, I think of Dave Matthews Band. I'll probably see him even this weekend because I'm just a fan of that sound. And I grew up playing drums and Carter Beauford on drums. Holy moly, that guy is absolutely wonderful.
It's funny you mentioned Dave Matthews Band. We're talking about jazz, but you talk about rock crossing over. You think of Steely Dan and a little bit of DMB, and that they are always known as the best musician bands.
That's right.
Steely the rock Dan. Bands that have a little bit of those guys are players.
Exactly. Steely Dan were jazz players who said, "Hey, we'll try this rock thing out," and did all right.
Did pretty well.
I love Steely Dan. Holy moly! For anyone who's ever a sound nut out there, if you're ever looking for the best way to balance your speakers, put on Asia from Steely Dan. It's one of the most well-mixed albums ever. And that's a tip I got from George Graham back in the day, so you know it's real.
Gospel.
Yeah. So that's an audiophile's audiophile. So if you could put on that, that's the way you balance your speakers. But I love tons of music, right? So I'll also be listening to Kendrick Lamar. I'll also be listening to, 90s hip-hop. I'll be listening to I grew up in a house that always had music on, and with 4 people in my family who listened to very different music from each other. My father always had Motown on. My mom always had Q92.1 and easy listening with Delilah. And then my sister Joanna, she was cool. She had Depeche Mode, The Cure, and The Smiths. And my sister Juliana was like, I love the Beatles and 90s alternative. And then I was like, I'm young and I got hip hop. That's what's left. So I listened to all of it though growing up. And even now, music to me it's more fun when you listen. You can enjoy all of the genres. Why limit yourself? Put it all in there. Of course, we're all going to find things that we're not as interested in. But
sure.
For me, I find some country I love. I find some bluegrass that I love. I mean, geez, talking about the Kirby and how Billy Strings used to play in this lobby over there. Now here he is playing arenas nonstop. It was bluegrass. Unbelievable. But then Of course, you know, I can enjoy Metallica just as much as anybody else. I can enjoy all of it. To me, it's just, that's the best part, right? Art is universal, and you can find something in every different version of it that might speak to you or might find it, you know, interesting.
Neil, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for everything that you do at the Kirby Center. Thank you for everything you do for the Cavalcade of Jazz. Again, that event is coming up very shortly, June 6th to 8th, all throughout downtown Wilkes-Barre. And the tickets are available at Wilkes-Barre Cavalcade of Jazz.org. Neil, thank you.
Alan, thank you so much. Next time we come on, I'm going to interview Alan and talk about everything, because Lord knows Alan's Rolodex and list of musical interests is far longer than mine.
Turn the tables.
And so we'll
Got
have
a deal.
And also, shout out to Kyle. You guys can't see him over there, but he's the man. Phenomenal artist and talent, and he's popping the ones and twos with our mix. So if we sound great, it's Kyle. If we don't, I don't know who did that.
We wanted to get this podcast started for about 3 years, and Kyle was working here for 2 months, and we finally got it going. So thank you, Kyle.
He's the man. I hope podcast ends with a picture of Kyle. That'd be best.
We'll catch you guys